belief in one's skills and abilities. So it's where you know you can do it. So that's where you know what level your skill confidence is. You have the self-confidence to know, I know that I know how to drive. I know that I know how to type. I know that I know how to bake a cake. Whatever it is, you've got that self-confidence where you know what your ability is. Now, when skill confidence and self-confidence are out of kilter, that's where you can get problems. It happens so much with new drivers. Their skill is actually low down at this level, but their self-confidence is much, much higher, which means they believe they're a much better driver than they are. They believe they can handle the car come what may. They believe they can thrash the car around and have it all under control. We've pretty much all been there. Those of us who are drivers, we've pretty much all been through that. As much as we'd like to pretend otherwise, we've pretty much all been through that. Most of us are lucky, get through it without any incident, but very often people come a cropper because their skill confidence is much lower than their self-confidence. They don't have quite as much skill as they think they have, and that's when they get into difficulty and crashes and so on. The reverse is also true. If your skill confidence is higher than your self-confidence is a lot lower, then you may well have the ability to do it, but you don't actually believe that you have the ability to do it. And that's where you start to get underconfident in your own abilities. Yes? So we spoke earlier about how sometimes leaders can be extremely underconfident in their abilities. And that's where it comes from. It comes from their self-confidence being out of kilter with their skill confidence. It's actually a lot lower than their skill confidence. We'll take a look at how we can address those in a moment, but you can see how this stuff is all starting to work together, yes? And then we've got the third type of confidence, which is emotional confidence. Now, emotional confidence, that can be the real killer, and that can be the one that really makes or breaks our confidence, and that's all the emotional side, all the emotional baggage, all the emotional connections with everything that we're doing. Because when our emotional confidence about a particular thing is low, that can be where anxiety sets in, where panic sets in, where we just cause ourselves so many problems. We're constantly worried that we're going to get it wrong, even though we've got the skill to do it, even though we know we've got the skill to do it, we haven't got the emotional confidence around it. We can't cope with when we do get things wrong, because we all get things wrong. Everybody gets things right, everybody gets things wrong. That's how we are as people. But when we get things wrong, if we've got low emotional confidence, that's what sets all the self-doubt going, the negative self-talk. See, I knew we were rubbish at this. I knew we should never have done this. I should never have become this manager. Oh, I'm rubbish. Blah, 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 blah. You know the stuff, right? That's very low emotional confidence. And also, I mean, being fearful that you might have done something wrong, usually low emotional confidence. It can also be low self-confidence. When your self-confidence is so low that you don't realise the level of skill that you have. And then we get worrying about what other people will say, and that is very much in the emotional confidence domain. Very much in the emotional confidence domain. When you have low emotional confidence, you really can be worrying about what other people say. Oh, what if they say bad things about me? Because that can trigger all sorts of emotional responses in you. Oh, how can they say such things about me? Oh, so unfair. Why don't they like me? Why do they say I'm rubbish? All this sort of thing. Yeah? Well, we have a low emotional confidence. And that can also impact our self-confidence as well. If we have low self-confidence and worry about what people say, because what they say might just confirm our worst fears about how poor our skills are, or our belief about how poor our skills are, even though our skills may well be top-notch. So you see how these three things all kind of link together, yeah? As I say, we covered that in much more detail in an episode all about the three types of confidence. You want to go back and dig that out. We go into a lot more detail about it. But I just wanted to give that outline here because that's the three things that we're facing here. So how can we build up our confidence? Well, kind of the first thing to do really is work out which of those three confidences is the problem. Because ideally you want all three of those levels of confidence to be level, basically. Because when they're level, the three of them support together. You want to keep them at the same sort of... Ideally, you want them all to be high, but you want all three to be at the same... You want them to be the same as each other. You want them to meet at the same level. So when you've got a high skill in something, you want to have high self-confidence in that, and you want to have high emotional confidence around that as well. Because when you've got those three, you're good at what you do, you know you're good at what you do, and you've got rock solid emotions about being good about what you do. It doesn't matter then what others say. They can say whatever they like. They can try to knock you as much as they like. It's not going to work because you know with the very core of your being that you're darn good at what you do. It doesn't matter what the others think. They may be thinking about things out of jealousy. Maybe they don't see the full picture. They may be projecting their own inadequacies. Who knows? But you don't care because you've got all three of those levels of confidence are high. And that's what we want to get to. So how can we do that? Let's take a look at some tasks, some things we can do to really build up our confidence. Identify which of the three areas of confidence you need to build. You need to build upon. That's the first thing you need to do. Now, the thing here is be careful, because if you've got low self-confidence, you might think your skill confidence is really low, when in fact your skill is high. It's just you have low self-confidence about that skill. So it may be you're good at driving, it's just you don't believe you're good at driving. Which means you try and avoid driving wherever possible because you believe you're bad at it, even though you're actually a pretty good driver. So if you feel you're lacking skill confidence, do a realistic check. And that's where it comes in really handy in corporate environments, because most companies will have reviews, annual or even 6-monthly appraisals, whatever you want to call them. Sometimes they're even more regular than that. In companies that are really on the ball, they may have them every 3 months. It's where you sit down with your manager and go over how good you are at what you do. And your manager will feed back to you how good you are. You might get feedback from your team as well, 360-degree reviews, where your manager reviews you, your colleagues review you, your team reviews you, and that gives you an overall view of the skills. So, whenever your company has these appraisals, really, really pay attention to what's said in them. Now, I know appraisals can be nerve-wracking for a lot of people. Oh, what if they say I'm rubbish? Well, what if they do say you're rubbish? The fact that they're employing you means that you are good at what you're doing. If your review comes as bad, you're performing poorly, that simply helps to identify the areas of your skills which you need to polish, the areas in which you need to devote the next 3, 6, 12 months to learning. So appraisals, reviews are a great way of finding out what level the other people think you're at, and a great way to see, well, where do I need to improve. Now, a lot of people, they see appraisal as some nerve-wracking thing. They want to get through it as quickly as they can, come out the other side, and then forget about it all. But the reality is, as unpleasant as it can be to be told you need to improve in this area, you're not very good at this area, as unpleasant as that can be a massive, massive way to really boost our skill confidence, because it's somebody else showing us exactly where we need to improve. What more could you possibly want? It's somebody who knows what you do coming up to you and saying, hey, you need to improve this. Your skill's low in this area, you need to bring that up. Your skill in this area is high, and your skill in this area, outstanding. This is the area you need to improve upon. It's brilliant. It is really good from that perspective. That's how you can identify where you need to improve in your skill confidence. Now, some companies don't bother with regular appraisals, and some companies don't bother with appraisals at all, which can make it a bit harder, in which case you kind of need to do an appraisal yourself. So give yourself regular self-appraisals. Work out, where am I good? Where am I not so good? Which areas do I need to improve upon? And try and look at it from as dispassionate and dissociated viewpoint as you possibly can. Almost imagine that you are reviewing this person. Imagine you're a third party reviewing this person. Check against your job description. Check the results that you're getting. Keep out of the emotion of it. Yes, you will have got things wrong. You know what that means? It means you're human, just like all the rest of us. You'll get some things right, you'll get some things wrong. That's just the way we are. Have a look. What did I get wrong? It's not because I'm rubbish. It's simply because my skill in that area needs improvement. So when you see things you get wrong, don't get despondent. Get excited. Get excited because you have now spotted an area where, when you invest a bit more training, invest a bit of practice, research, whatever it takes, you can boost that skill level. Now, I know some people will think, I could never improve that skill level. That's nonsense. That's your lack of confidence, lack of emotional confidence speaking there. If, as we spoke last episode, if it's humanly possible, consider it to be within your grasp. So if you have a deficiency, when you identify a deficiency in a skill, and we all have areas where our skills are deficient. We all do. We always will. None of us are perfect. Nobody is perfect. And that's all right. As long as we're doing the best we can, that's what counts. And when we identify an area where our skill is lacking, that lets us know, I need to improve this. How can I go about improving it? Is there some training I could do? Is there a book I could read? Is there a company course I could go on? Who do I know, and this works really well in companies, who do I know who's doing a similar job and is good at that bit? Could I have a chat with them? Get some tips from them? Maybe go out for a coffee or a beer with them and get some tips? Could I observe what they do? Could I speak with some of their staff and learn how that person does it? Now, how can you find out from a person how they do it? I can't go up to... Fred's better than me at doing this, but I can't go up to Fred and ask him how he does that. He's going to think that's weird. Most of the time, the only thing Fred is going to think is, oh, wow, this person thinks I'm good at what I do. That's nice. And they're interested in me and how I do it. Yeah, come on, let's go for a beer. Let's have a talk about this. Something we've spoken about many times before, people's favourite topic is themselves. When you recognise that Fred is better than you at something, he's really good at something, or Frida, she's really good at something, and you want to know how she does it, or how he does it, and you just ask them. They will, 9 times out of 10, they will be thrilled to have a chat with you about it. And it doesn't matter what level they're at. When you're genuinely interested in someone and genuinely interested in learning more about them and about that thing, you'll get so much out of them. That goes to one of Dale Carnegie's principles, and we'll talk about him in more detail and more depth, him and his principles, in another episode. But it goes to the heart of his principles. When you're truly, genuinely interested in someone, it really shows, and they will open up. Fred, Frida, they will help you. They will give you the information they need. Heck, they might even offer to mentor you. Who knows? And even if they say no, there will be other people in the organisation who are good at that area that you need improvement. Who are they? Find them. Speak to them. Find out how they do it. So how exactly do you create? I mean, you create brilliant weekly reports every week. How do you do it? I mean, I sit down at my computer and it's like, blank screen, I don't know what to do. But how do you do it? How do you get all that information together? How do you create it? How do you know what to put in? They're gonna feel good. You've made them feel good because you've recognised something they're doing. You've acknowledged what they're doing. You've said, hey, you are good at that. And who doesn't like to be told they're good at something, yeah? Especially when they haven't even asked, it's come out of the blue.